Hi gorgeous, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna learn how to drape a Kanchipuram Saree. I feel like Kanchipuram Sarees come in a few different types. Depending on how much gold zari or work there is on it, it can be a little puffier and a little harder to handle. And so today I'm gonna show you a few tips and tricks that I use to ensure that it drapes beautifully and you look amazing. I'm also 8 months pregnant, so if there's anyone who really needs the sari to really conform to the body, to make it look flattering, I feel like if you can do it while pregnant, then anyone can handle it. And so I'm going to show you some tips and tricks, both for pregnancy, but also just how to drape a Kanchipuram Saree that's not really listening to how you want to drape it. So let's get started. So this is actually my wedding sari, and as you can see, the pleats from the pallu that I wore on my wedding day is still there. What I would recommend is that whether it's a new sari with the initial folds in it, or you're redraping a sari that you've draped before, make sure you iron the entire length of the sari, especially for saris that are not draping the way you want them to. What ironing the entire sari is going to achieve is a blank canvas for you to start with. And so you're just going to make your life a lot easier if you iron the entire sari. All right, so once your entire sari is ironed, you can start taking your pallu pleats. I'll link my pallu pleating video here, but it's the same method every single time. I just decide the width of the pleats I'd like, lift, and then place it again on top of the rest of the sari, and repeat that process until I get to the other end of the sari. Once I'm happy with my pallu pleats, I'm just going to press them down. This is really going to help keep the plates intact and neat, especially when you take out the safety pins. Once you get to the chest pleats, I really like to make a point of ironing this down because, especially with saris where it's a little puffier, ironing down your chest pleats just takes away that puffiness. And if you're pregnant, I highly, highly recommend you do this so that, you know, the sari beautifully conforms to your bump and is not puffy in places that it doesn't need to be. It just makes the entire drape look neater and more beautiful. And then for pregnancy drapes, as well as saris where you find it harder to manage, I would just take these chest pleats a little further. So you want to kind of drape your entire front of your body so that the entire front is draped beautifully and there's no puffiness. So you can just take this a little bit further down and iron this part down as well. There's no rule on where you need to iron up to. I would say just roughly draping your body or the front of your body. You just want to make sure the front is covered in terms of it being nicely pressed down, and then the rest is not a big deal. All right, we're ready to start draping. Once you've ironed and pleated your pallu, you're ready to start draping. With puffier saris, you just want to take that extra time to make sure you're not scrunching up any of the fabric, that you're really taking that extra moment to ensure there are no extra bulges where they don't need to be, and tucking in everything super smooth and super flat so that the sari is only, you know, flares out where you want it to and not in places that you don't want it to. All right, when you get to the front, you want to get to the other end of the sari and take your pallu and put it over your left shoulder. And just even that, look how beautifully it drapes because you've already taken the time to iron out these front pleats. You can just fan them out. And then you want to bring the side of the sari that's closest to your body around you. Bring it to the front. And now if you're pregnant, I would say you want to pin the sari right here at the front. higher up. If you're not pregnant, you can definitely do it on your right thigh, like I do in so many of my other videos. I just find it's more comfortable, especially if you're further along in your pregnancy, to do that inside pin right here instead of lower down, because the sari is not gonna stay put, it's gonna continue to kind of like get pulled down. So a pin here if you're pregnant, and a pin here if you're not. Now make sure that's tight, and you can kind of pull it down so that it creates that tension, and then you can go ahead and pleat. As always, you want to start to the left of your belly button. This will ensure that the first pleat doesn't open up when you are done pleating and tucking and when you start to walk. So you want to start to the left of your belly button. If you're pregnant, I would suggest taking narrower pleats than you normally would so that you get those extra beautiful pleats. But you can play around with your sari and decide on the width of the pleat that you like best. I have a tutorial on how to pleat. You can check that out. I'll link it here. All right, when you get to the end, you want to just let your pleats go, shake them out, and take some time here to really stagger the pleats and make sure they are falling exactly how you'd like them to. So ever so slightly, not too much, so it gives that beautiful flared look, but it doesn't open up too much. And then once you're happy with that, you can just pin them all together and go ahead and tuck it in. When you go to tuck in your pleats, make sure you're, again, tucking them in as flat as possible because you don't want any extra fabric or anything bulging here. If there's any extra fabric here, you can just fold forward and tuck. Okay. Once you're happy with the pleats, you just want to take some time here to work with the pallu and ensure that you're happy. And you can just spread out the pleats and position them how you'd like it. And then once you are happy with this, I would highly recommend adding a waist chain. What that's going to do is going to give you more shape, but also it's going to keep all of these pleats intact. And that's applicable whether you're pregnant or not. And that's it. So 3 tips to really get your puffy, heavy worked gold zari, Kanchipuram sarees looking this neat is: number 1, take your time to ensure that you are tucking and smoothing out any bulges as you drape your sari. It's those little things that you overlook at the beginning of your drape that can really lead to your drape maybe looking a little messier than you'd like. Number 2, take the time to press down your chest pleats and your pallu pleats and iron the entire sari as well, because that's gonna help you be able to manage the sari better. And number 3, add a waist chain. I feel like a waist chain, whether you're pregnant or not, just really brings the entire look together, and it ensures that it accentuates your waist. Especially for a puffier sari, you really want to provide some structure. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions or comments or any tips to share with the rest of the community, leave them in the comment box below, and I will see you in a future video.